What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Good to see y'all. So there's a couple things that I always see in real estate videos that bug me, and part of it is probably because I have done all these things too, so they make me cringe a little bit because I know the fixes for them are super easy. So I wanted to share these things with you and hopefully give you some tips that will help you avoid doing the same things that I've done. So thanks so much for joining. Now let's get into it. So generally speaking, all of these come down to one thing, and that's just changing how you think about your cinematography just a little bit, and I promise it goes a really long way for your production quality. So the first one is the reverse reveal. So when I put it like that, it's confusing, right? And that's exactly the problem. So basically, when you are doing shots that are more compressed, that are like detail shots, they can look kind of boring by themselves. So typically we try to introduce some type of foreground element between the camera and the subject to add a little bit of movement into the frame and make it a more dynamic and interesting shot. And a lot of times we'll be starting out where you can't see the whole thing and moving the camera to where it reveals more of the subject the further along you get in the clip. And where people get this wrong, me included early along, is they just think, oh, foreground element equals cinematic. So it stops there. And this is where things start to get kind of weird. So instead of thoughtfully using a camera movement to slowly reveal something into frame, we start to use foreground for the wrong reasons. And super often we kind of just do this backwards. So for example, let's say we're filming a sink, and in the edit we've got it starting out fully in frame, which is nice and everything as a viewer, and then the camera starts to slowly move and cover up part of the sink. So it creates this weird experience where watching the video starts to feel kind of awkward. So it's a simple fix. All you would be doing in that scenario differently would be come from around the column and reveal the sink. That's it. So obviously not all detail shots are gonna be revealing something. Sometimes they just have foreground elements in them, the whole shot, and that looks cool. But if you are doing something where you're coming around a corner showing something, coming out from behind an object showing something, you just want to make sure that you're not doing that backwards on accident. All right, so I know that's just like a really specific example, but I see this so much. And it's the simplest thing to fix, but it makes a big difference on how you feel watching these videos. All right, number 2, right to left versus left to right. So this is something that you should be thinking about strategically. Typically, I like to set things up to where the viewer is going to look at the frame and read it from right to left. Usually this is going to feel the most open and natural to look at, since it's the way we typically process information anyways when we're reading. And I know that's not always possible, so one cinematography trick that you can do is have a detail that's composed right to left, and then have the next detail show that's composed left to right. So when you cut them next to each other in your edit, it's going to be kind of a conversational feeling. People do this in interview videos all the time. They'll have one person on the right side of the screen looking to the left side of the screen, and then they'll have one person on the left side of the screen looking to the right side of the screen. So when you're watching it, it doesn't feel super repetitive and it feels a little bit more conversational. And just being a little bit intentional about that can really help the viewing experience of your video and help it feel a lot more polished. So one way to try that out would be to just shoot both for each detail shot and see how you like it in the edit and see what's going to work for you. And at least for me, that's how I learn anything. I just try a bunch of stuff, see what sticks, see why it sticks. Yeah, on to the next point. All right, guys, the last tip is super important, and it's the easiest one. Stop doing camera movement for every single shot. I know when you get into this industry, it is super exciting to get a gimbal, get good at a gimbal, show off your gimbal skills, but learning how to use a gimbal for video is very similar to playing an instrument. When you start out, you do everything, you try to show off, you try to get fast and loud and all these things, but the sign of someone who's really good is someone who can show restraint and hold back when they need to and really develop that fine-tuned taste over time. I'm the biggest culprit of this. Not everything has to be a parallax shot. Okay, if you're showing the numbers of a house, if you're showing a plant detail or a fire, you don't always have to be doing some fancy camera movement. It makes it kind of weird to watch. So I challenge y'all to have at least like 5 non-moving shots per video edit and see what you think. So the moral of this video is to literally just take like 5 or 10 seconds before every gimbal movement. Think about what your shot is doing. Think about how the viewer is going to experience this shot, and think about the purpose behind the shot. And before you know it, your videos are going to start feeling a lot better to watch. They're going to be a lot more cinematic. They're going to be a lot more professional looking. And overall, it just kind of makes the process a little bit more fun. I promise that that tiny little adjustment in your mindset is going to take you a long way. And with that being said, that's all I got for this video. If you're new, thanks so much for joining. Make sure to subscribe, turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on future videos. And if you've been around for a while, thank you so much for your continued support. You guys mean a lot to me, and as always, look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Peace.